Welcome back to Ahead of the Game. It's Tuck's Sports Takes, and do not adjust your sets. Jez is not here today, but I have probably a better replacement. Josh Higgins from the Basketball Fix. Joshy, welcome back to the show, mate.
How are we, mate? It's a little bit different. I know we're not in the same room this time, and you haven't got Jez just looking at you and having his arm around you for a
Over
full
the
30-minute
shoulder.
episode, mate. That was something to watch, mate. There's a genuine love affair going on with you two, and I'm absolutely loving it. We've done a few episodes together with you guys in the same room, and it's just hand over and everything like that. So Jez is swindling his way in, the Tinder swindler, we'll call him. But it's great fun, mate. Looking forward to being back on the show and talking some more sports.
You should see what happens off camera, mate.
I could only imagine, mate.
It's good. It's a different dynamic sitting in the same room as someone. And
Yeah.
last episode, we had like handheld mics. So it also beforehand trying to remember to move the mic with the head when we're talking to each other and remember to look at the camera. And for us, we're old and we're bogans. It's difficult to do 14 things at once, but it's good fun.
Nah, it worked out well, mate. It was a good episode.
All right, today we're going to chat some footy. You are a Perth boy, West Eagles. They're a bit under fire in the media this week after their start to the season. NBA playoffs just around the corner. Last day of the regular season was yesterday. Well, today. Last night.
Yep.
Today.
Yep.
And few results that had some what do you call it? I've forgotten the word in English. Implications in the Western Conference
Big words.
and the seedings. And then obviously on a Monday we do GPT, KO, and it also a bit of a basketball theme there, but we'll save that one for a little bit later. Now, shit that's happened. Josh, I want to ask you first, West Coast. So you and I spoke about the Eagles and the Dockers in the preseason chat we had here on Ahead of the Game. And I asked you about the coaching and who would be more under fire come, about this part of the season if the teams aren't stacking up. Freo started in big trouble and there was already talk after 2 straight losses that JL was going to get the boot. Now they've kind of saved their asses with 3 wins in a row. But West Coast, we weren't expecting them to go out and win 5 games, but their effort levels and some things, just one that was highlighted in the AFL media from the weekend is when Patrick Cripps had that mark or the free kick right on the goal square and nobody stood on the mark. How do you see the start of the season from West Coast, and does it differ anything to your expectations?
Oh, I'll just start off by hanging shit on Fremantle because I think it's all good West Coast supporters. We have to. But, we can talk about how Freo are back in form and have won 3 games. Well, they've beaten an up-and-down Western Bulldogs team, and then they've beaten arguably 2 of the worst teams in the competition in Richmond and West Coast. So, realistically, how good are you actually going? I know you can only beat what you got in front of you, but the 2 games before that, they got absolutely smoked by Geelong, and I can't remember who the game round 2 was, but I'm pretty sure it was a bit of a pantsing as well. So, that's Freo out of the way. I still think Justin Longmuir is 100% under the fire, and I don't think we'll see him entering into next season at all as the head coach of Freo if they don't make a top 3 at least finish. And at least go, I reckon, a prelim, to be fair, mate. I think that's where it sort of sits because there's going to be some good coaches floating around the AFL next year. You got likes of John Longmuir. Nathan Buckley has also been very prevalent in the media the last couple of years about him potentially returning to the AFL in some sort of a coaching role. But that's enough of Freo. Let's get into the West Coast side of everything. Now, West Coast are in trouble, but I don't necessarily believe that this is any surprise because we've got to look at it in 2 different sort of situations. You've got the rebuilding aspect, which has been going on for the last couple of seasons, but then you've got the new coach aspect of it as well. So, I think one thing that majority of fans have got to understand is a game plan and it being executed doesn't just happen overnight. These things are normally 2 or 3 years in the making. We see it all the time. You get that sort of first sort of glimmer of hope in either season 1 or season 2, and then you start to see it come to fruition and you start seeing rise in the ladder around season 3. Look at Hawthorn. I think that's the perfect example where the game plan was always there. It just needed the personnel to be at a good level for that game plan to be really, really good and then to be a competitive side as well. So I think when we look at the West Coast Eagles, we've really got to look at what they're doing. And I think aspects of their game is really, really exciting. You saw it on the weekend. They were, instead of attacking the corridor, they were playing on the far wing and just moving it really fast. And they did it a couple of times. And early on, it gave them a few goals against Carlton. And you sat there going, all right, this is probably a good little piece of the puzzle. But again, they don't really have, and they can't really make any sort of a structure when you look at their list. And that's where the problems are for me, because on the weekend, they didn't have three of their midfielders who they've probably had over the last couple of seasons. Now, Tim Kelly was obviously dropped back to the waffle and still had a pretty stinker there as well, had 19 touches for the West Coast Eagles waffle team against Subiaco. But then you look at Elliot Yeo, who's still battling injuries and has been for the last couple of seasons, and Dom Sheed as well, who, whilst he's not the best midfielder in the competition, he still gives you something on the opposition, in the midfield as well. So you got three of these, guys who have all played around the 200 game mark, essentially missing, the start of this season. So that is huge. You've got Harley Reid, who's more worried about fighting anyone else than he is getting the football right now, which I think needs to be stamped out. I don't think right now you could drop him back to the waffle as per se, but I think it's getting pretty close to that. You've got to give him a week off and hit the reset button. But I was having this conversation with a few of my mates, mate. I just don't see any hope for the West Coast Eagles going forward. Like, I've got a bet on with my nan for a carton of piss. I don't see us even making the finals until like 10 years. Like, I think it's nearly 10 years away because, there's just like, there's no one like who, if you look at their list, mate, a lot of these guys are 28, 29, 30 who are our star players. So you've then got to weather the lack of, I guess, players coming through to then make the finals again. You can't be relying on 34 and 35-year-olds with 22 and 23-year-olds. There's no mix in the middle for West Coast right now. So that's what's scary, because I look at North Melbourne and I see hope, and I look at Richmond and I can see some genuine hope as well. So I'm bemused by West Coast right now, mate. They're in trouble, but I think it's kind of expected.
Have they kind of gotten themselves into a situation where they're out of sync in terms of roster rebuild and coach rebuild? Like, because you look at McQualter and it's like, okay, well, how is he supposed to, as a first-time proper AFL head coach, how's he supposed to manage this type of roster while also trying to rebuild and bring up players and blood them? But, West Coast have been such a storied team for so long that their fans expect to be winning often. And if you're in a situation where you were thinking it's 10 years away, like, McQualter's not going to be there in 10 years. So what's his job now? Is it they might as well just go and blood all the players they can and try and, find a nugget.
Yeah, well, like, I don't necessarily believe McQualter won't be there 10 years down the track, because if he shows signs, we see it, and we have seen it in recent history, where you reward a coach with longevity and you allow them to grow with the kids, you see results. You look at Richmond, they had that dynasty built there where Dimmer was in basically year 8 and year 9 before the club was sat there going, do we sack him or do we roll the dice? They rolled the dice. They went 3 and 4 years. So when you look at West Coast list, this is the players in which I see potentially being there in that run later on down the track. So Liam Baker won't be there. He's 27. So you've basically got Ruben Jinmi, Elijah Hewitt, Harley Reid if he stays around, maybe Tyler Brockman if he continues to develop at a decent rate. Oscar Allen may not even be at the club next season. You've then got Noah Long, who has shown little parts here and there, but he's only going to be a small forward. Jack Graham's 28, so he's a guy who you've gone after in this offseason, who's one of those middle-aged recruit guys, essentially, so he may not be there either. You got Campbell Chesser, who showed nothing for a very high draft pick. Brady Hoff, who's going to be an outstanding player, but he's always going to be a lockdown defender. So in a better team, he would be an outstanding player. He's the Brandon Starcevich of the West Coast Eagles, but there's no one around him right now. McGovern's basically got probably 1 or 2 years max of how his body's holding up. You've got Archer Reid, who's showing some promise. Ryan Marich, who's showing some promise. Bob Allen hasn't played a game. Tom Gross has played 2 incredible games for the West Coast Eagles. Clay Hall, none of these guys are, I go, holy shit, he's going to be a genuine star in the future. Whereas when you look at North Melbourne per se, I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but I go Finn O'Sullivan, Harry Sheasel, Luke Davies-Uniacke, George Wardlaw, Zane Dersmar, Jai Simpkin, Colby McKercher, Dylan Stevens, you can even throw guys like Nick Larkey in there as well. Yeah. Tom Powell, Paul Curtis. You look at this team and you go, holy shit, they've got some sort of an identity Then you flip to Richmond. You know, you got Hugo Ralph Smith. You still got probably Tim Taranto for a few more years. Maurice Rioli showing signs. Josh Gibskis. You know, not Noah Bolter. Sam Layla. You've got a few other guys who you sit there and you just go, again, there's five or
Yeah,
six that I've rattled off who I can see being the player for the club. So,
yeah,
mate, they're in
yeah.
some genuine strife, but I think it does coincide with where they are currently.
No, it will be interesting to follow their development at least. I think they're good enough to jag a few games against teams like they just it's in a similar space. We spoke a lot about Richmond. It's just playing the four quarters. You've seen
Yeah.
in the games they've been in it early, but then they just fade away at the end. And I think once the season gets a bit choppy there through the middle of winter, I think they'll upset a few teams and show some promise. And you say, okay, well that's the West Coast we can expect for the next couple of years. All right, NBA, mate, a final day of interesting results. I'm just going to pull them up on my own screen so I can see. The one of the biggest ones for me, being a Clippers fan, is LA beating the Golden State Warriors on the road in OT, 124 to 119. That consolidates them in the fifth spot, but they will take on the Denver Nuggets. Mate, which kind of result from the last day of play stood out most to you, and what are your thoughts ahead of the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think the number one, I guess, I don't know how it's not exciting, but it's not boring, but it's good. Is that result like it's Golden State Warriors versus the Clippers because what it does is for my man LeBron James, it solidifies him now to be playing against Anthony Davis and the Minnesota Timberwolves in round one instead of playing the Golden State Warriors with the week off with Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. So that is a massive result because I think when we look at this, I think it's a bigger loss. It's obviously a bigger loss for the Golden State Warriors, but it's a huge loss for them because they have had arguably the toughest 30-game stretch since Jimmy Butler arrived in San Francisco out of any other team in the competition. As much as they've had an incredible end to the season, they have basically played every game with playoff sort of, I guess, pressure, the
Yeah,
atmosphere, and the intent to win the game. So for them now to only have a 2-day break, then if they lose that first play-in game, they have to go again and another 2-day break, and then basically 3 days later play their first playoff game in a best of 7 series, potentially against either OKC or the Houston Rockets. They're in serious strife now. I know all the talk in American media has been about how it's the Lakers, the Thunder, or the Golden State Warriors to win the West. I don't know now. I think the Warriors are nearly a rule out. Don't you reckon?
just like playoff Jimmy, you can't discount playoff Jimmy. And like if you look at top three players on all of those teams and you're lining them up, Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. Like, okay, LA
It's the
have
depth though.
LeBron and Luca. Who's their number three?
Oh,
Austin Reaves,
whoa. What do you mean? He's only
Rui
averaging
Hachimura.
27.5 points per game over the last 25 games. He's been dominating since Luca's rocked up. Austin Reaves, I think we can sit here right now and say he is the best three man, like the third man in any big three in the NBA right now. I'm dead serious. The way
Wow.
he's playing basketball, he is absolutely dominating. His game, if you look across every single statistic, has basically improved dramatically. Since Luka Doncic has been there, he is the number three man, the best number three man in the entire competition. There is
Oh wow.
no
Okay.
questioning that at all. Yeah,
Shit.
he
All
has
right.
been amazing.
I think it'll be put to the test because you see, like, I don't think OKC have the. I mean, they have a great team. They have a lot of players that contribute, but in come playoff time when that rotation shortens down, I think they might get found out, and they might be lucky here if I don't know. I don't know who come if Memphis come out of this in the eight and play Oklahoma City. I think Memphis get done. Golden State play Houston, playoff Jimmy, like that is a very strong possibility. They go to the second round and then it's on. The Clippers, I think,
Yeah,
are a dangerous team for many because you have Kawhi, who's on on a really good run right now. James Harden is scoring. Norm Powell, Ivica Zubac is doing extremely well in that center position. The Clippers have been top three. I was listening to this the other day. I think it was top three in offensive and defensive rating for the last month of play, and that's insane for a team that was struggling, like not even tipped to make even the play in at the start of the season.
Mm.
So I think they're dangerous, and I don't think they'll be underestimated because you never underestimate a team with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. But
Nah.
if they get past Denver, look out.
Yeah, the only thing I guess you sort of say is like the Nuggets, the Clippers, potentially the Warriors or the Grizzlies are going to have to go through OKC in round two, and that's where the Lakers currently have that sort of advantage. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm hoping that the Grizzlies beat the Warriors in that playing game. And then second round, you're looking at either Houston or the Grizzlies. And then you go against, in a Western Conference final series, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And for me, that would be so exciting for
Yeah,
LeBron, for Luka, for Austin Reaves. Jackson Hayes has been great. I'm really campaigning. I genuinely think right now the Lakers come out of the West. And I know a lot of people absolutely genuinely hate that, but LeBron is in career post-prime form, I think we can say. I think that's probably the best way of saying it. He's rejuvenated. You look at Luka Doncic, he's starting to get that killer instinct back. And like I
yeah,
mentioned, Austin Reaves has been an absolute gun. But we've just spoken about the West there. The East is looking exciting as well. Like you've got the Cavs potentially playing one of, I think it's between the Bulls, the Magic, and the Hawks. I think you can nearly rule out
yeah,
Miami. And I know that's hard, but they
yeah,
got no one. But like, man, these playoff series, the Pacers and the Bucks, them throughout the regular season has been great. And then
yeah.
you've got the Knicks and the bad boy Pistons who are back in form, who genuinely, those two teams, godsend, hate each other, mate. So I don't know. It's so exciting. This is my favorite time of the year. I know obviously we've had the NBL season. We haven't watched much basketball, but god damn, these last couple of months have been incredible.
And Cleveland again, like they were discounted for so long throughout the season. Like, they're not any
Yeah.
good. They're not any good. They're fake news. They're imposters.
They still are.
But but I mean, you can't impost a 64-18 record. Like
No.
it's a
That's
it's a
what does
it's a
my head in.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just you sit there and you go like it's like people that are riding off OKC right now. Like I know I've just said the Lakers are going to come out of the West, but I think the OKC Thunder will 100% make the Western Conference Finals. I can't see a
mm,
team beating them in a 7-game series, to be fair, with their current bracket right now. But like the Cavs, man, I don't know. Like my ideal, and I'm being dead serious when I say this. I reckon the NBA would have a bit of say in this as well, but their ideal thing, imagine, would either be the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron's homecoming essentially to
yeah,
Cleveland, with the Cavs potentially going for championship number 2 without LeBron, or you've got arguably the two greatest sporting franchises in American sport history, with the Lakers taking on the Boston Celtics in an NBA Finals. They
yeah,
are incredible. No one wants to
yeah.
see OKC. I don't. Shea's not ready yet.
OKC
Give me another
versus
5 years.
Indiana.
Yeah, like give me another 5 years of Shea. He's got to earn his
Yeah,
stripes. You go for a
yeah.
championship. So, mate, I'm excited. It kicks off in a couple of days, the play-in, and then obviously we go straight into that sort of playoffs in the 19th of April. So we're currently 5 days away from the start of the playoffs.
Mm. Very exciting. I think Boston have the best chance, I think, to take the East,
Yeah.
but I think Cleveland are really the only team that are gonna trouble them. New York, yeah, like
Who wins that series, Ryan? Does the Pistons knock off the Knicks? Because I've tipped the Pistons in that series, man. Just
oh
that
really?
hunger. Yeah, they've got that
Ah,
hunger. Like, they've got the wall over the Knicks this year. Like they have really ruffled some feathers.
oh,
So
I was on the Pistons for so long, but they just keep getting injured. Like Cade Cunningham is one of my favorite kind of up and
yeah,
coming players, and all of a sudden they just like, okay, now we're healthy and everyone's on the court, we're good, and this is what we should
yeah,
have been 2 years ago. Um,
yeah. And they've
yeah,
still got
I
no
think
Jaden Ivey. Like imagine that
yeah,
next season as well.
but I think
Like
that maybe the occasion gets to them. Going to a packed Madison Square Garden, if it goes to game 7 in MSG, they're not winning that. unfortunately. So they maybe have to jag a game one to have a chance, but it'll be an interesting matchup.
Definitely.
Righto. Let's have a quick break, come back and get into GPTKO. Rightio, Josh. This is my favourite segment. And I hinted to you a little bit that it's going to be the NBL themed. Excuse me. Frog in me throat. Now, there's been a lot going on in the NBL sphere of late. And it's not really much to do with the players. It's to do with the administration and the ownership. Let's take a quick look first at the bracket as it stands of Chat GPT KO.
I had a bit of a thought earlier, mate, not to hopefully ruin this, but I'd have thought it was going to be me versus Olgun Ulich as the Chat GPT, but we look like we're going down another pathway. Looking forward to this.
That would have been more fun, actually. Okay, so the bracket as it stands right now, we last week had Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky. Massive battle. Ovechkin came out as the winner there. But for this week, we're going to go Larry Kesselman and Jared Novelly.
Oof, there they are.
It's a big one. So these guys have
huge.
been in the media, and now it is even going to the courts. Novelly thinks that Kesselman should be selling the NBL back to the clubs. Kesselman, and I think also we agree, Kesselman has done a great job and should continue to be able to run the NBL and own it. And maybe there's some stuff to figure out there in between, but I think the way that the league is structured right now is why it has become so good. Any thoughts on that quickly before we get into the battle?
Oh, I've got plenty of thoughts in this whole situation, mate. I'm quite pissed off. Like, we posted something on our Basketball Fix Instagram. Sorry for a little plug here, but about it today. And the comments were like, this should have been years ago. And like, I just wanted to reply to every single comment, but I just couldn't because I don't want to be seen as a Larry coffee boy, but like other people in the NBL media. But, you know, like, I think what we've got to look at is the league wouldn't be where it is right now if Larry didn't own shares in the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers, in the Brisbane Bullets, in Melbourne United, and in other teams as well, because of just pure, there was no money in the league. Like, you look at, I compare the NBL to what the Australian Baseball League is right now. So the Australian Baseball League is fucking dead. It is as dead could be. And they need someone to take the money and buy every single team, the whole league as a whole, and just rebuild it and restructure everything. So, you know, and they're screaming for that. So we were that 10 years ago, and now it's a good league and everything like that. Everyone's now blaming Larry for uneven shit. So let's let ChatGPT decide the winner of this one, mate. And it better be Larry, or I'm going to quick it off this fucking show right now, mate. Sorry for my language.
All right, so you can see on the screen here, if you're listening on Spotify, I don't think anyone is. I haven't seen the stats there, but go over to the YouTube. You can see the prompt we've used in this battle between NBL owner Larry Kesselman and Illawarra Hawks owner Jared Novelly. Let's get into it.
How good is ChatGPT? Seriously, it is unbelievable.
I love it. We're taking some time to think. All right. Boardroom Brawl. Who really owns the paint? I love it. Good start. It's billionaires and boardrooms with this week's battle as we step away from the court and into the cage. Forget lawyers and court filings. This is about raw willpower, ego, and the future of Aussie hoops. Larry Kesselman built the modern NBL with his bare hands and a wallet the size of Docklands. Ooh. But Jared Novelly wants to decentralize the power, reclaim the soul, and return it to the clubs, like the A-League so successfully. It's Empire versus Rebellion. A little bit of a Star Wars theme. Melbourne versus St. Louis. Let's settle it GPT KO style.
Here we go.
Tail of the tape. Kesselman, 59. Estimated 5'10". Weight,
That's a lie.
classified
He's about
billionaire.
he's 5'1", I reckon.
Oh,
God, Larry,
really?
he's not 5'10". He's a midget, mate. He ain't 5'10".
Maybe he's
Oh,
putting some stuff out there that GPT can find to enhance his height. Ruthless
oh.
operator, cold strategist, and the godfather of the NBL's revival. Moves in silence, but when he speaks, stadium deals get done. Has that Eastern European toughness from birth and business. Wow.
Oh, yes. It's my
Novelty,
man.
in his 40s, approximately 6 feet, 183 centimeters. American entrepreneur with that Midwest grit, owner of the Illawarra Hawks, tech savvy, media aware, and not afraid to publicly rattle the cage. Big on control, bigger on disruption. Comes with a chip on his shoulder and a fresh legal pad of grievances.
Who does he sound like there, mate? He sounds like someone in office right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a connection there, doesn't he?
He does. He sure does.
Do you want to go through the breakdown?
I'll do the breakdown. All right. So the strengths for Mr. Larry Kesselman, we've got the experience, the intimidation, and the probably owns the the fight venue. That's good, eh? Jared, we've got energy, brashness, and the underdog hunger from years of a small market hustle. Now, the weaknesses for both Larry and Jared. For Larry, we've got might be playing the long game while getting punched in the face. And then we've got Jared. Can be a bit erratic, might try a Twitter post mid-round. That one sounds dead set, like what Jared Novelty would do as well. He'd probably send a memo to the other 9 owners in what's going on in the current fight.
Saying,
Now,
I'm probably
we've got
winning right now.
And it would just be him and Mark Arena just going back and forth on a Twitter
Yeah.
feed for the whole night. Massive shout out, Mark Arena. Now, the styles of these fighters. Larry fights like a boss. Methodical, unshakable, and might pay off the ref. You're shitting me. Jared comes in hot, swinging from the opening bell like he's still trying to win the press conference. Oh, mate, this is good. I love that little last liner for Larry. Might pay off the ref. That's been his only downfall anyone's ever said about him. They're like, oh, he pays the refs because he owns Melbourne United. God damn it.
Oh my God, that's so good. I'm dying right here.
Oh,
All right, final verdict.
here we go. Bring us home,
The
Ryan.
first round is all novelty, fast fist, fast talk, and fast lawsuit metaphors. But Larry's been through every business brawl imaginable. He doesn't flinch, he waits. He counter punches with cool, calculated moves, and eventually, in true Monopoly Man fashion, Larry Kesselman wins
Let's
via
go.
submission. Round 3, not by brute force, but by buying out the octagon mid-fight and making Novelty pay rent. Yeah!
Let's go, Larry.
The NBL
Oh,
stays
mate.
in Larry's hands for now.
That is awesome. As it should. There would be no other way for Larry. Like, I think it'd be just via submission, via chokehold. He'd be out as quickly as Bryce Mitchell was yesterday in the UFC, if anyone watched that at home as well.
Yeah, shit.
But yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Oh,
All
mate.
right. So,
Put him in the bracket.
Kesselman, he goes over to the bracket and he'll head into a fight against Peter Volandis from the NRL administration, who took out Andrew Dillon from the AFL in round 1. There's only
That's who it is. Nice.
Yeah. One fight left. Oh no, 2 fights left in
2 fights.
round 1. We'll have a probably an AFL.
I got a suggestion for you, mate.
Hmm?
I got a suggestion for you. All right. I'm happy that Kesselman's walked away the winner here, though. But you speak of AFL, mate. I don't know. Maybe a battle of the birds. Harley Reid taking on Bailey Smith. I don't know. What do you reckon about that?
Oh yeah, I like that one. Yeah. We'll pencil that in here for the the bracket right under Kesselman and Novelty, and then the winner to take on Daly Cherry Evans. Bit of an
Perfect.
NRL versus AFL battle. And we have to have over on the right-hand side a fight left there to take on Max Verstappen in the second round. anyone out there that's watching or listening can write in a comment who you think should be in that bracket, and we'll to get there. All right, all done. Don't forget to follow the Basketball Fix podcast on Instagram, doing great things, following the NBL free agency. How long left to go in that?
Mate, the period doesn't really essentially stop as per se
Okay.
because normally the imports won't be signed until summer leagues sort of done, the NBA summer leagues
Oh,
done.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that normally
fair enough.
sits in July, August sort of vibe. So yeah, we'll see some late signings potentially, but some of these big guys may return as well. We never know. But yeah, there'll be a lot of imports later on in the free agency period. I think NBL pleb sort of said May sometimes some of the imports signed, so another couple of weeks. But yeah, it's going to be exciting, mate. But quickly though, before I go, I just want to shout out something. Make sure you do check out the Basketball Fix. I know obviously Ryan and Jez have a lot to do with that as well. But we're going to be running a giveaway over there as well.
Yeah,
So a
awesome.
couple of NBA cards. So we got a Josh Giddey rookie signature card and also a Dyson Daniels rookie signature card as well. So massive cards for all you NBA heads out there, especially from Australia. It's going to be very simple to enter. All you got to do is have to like a post in a couple of weeks and also be following the Basketball Fix. So super simple and
Awesome.
yeah, really, really good one, mate. So hopefully one of your listeners is a massive part of that and wins the award as well.
Yeah, boy. And also, don't forget to check out the Rockingham Flames, NBL One
That's it,
West.
mate. I'll be putting the microphone on this week, mate. Finally, I'm bloody chomping at the bit. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's been a ride.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for jumping on for me today. And we'll, I don't know, Jez normally ends this show with something about staying ahead of the game. So let's just put it on that. Bye bye.